Hi guys, I want to talk about embodiment today. Embodiment is a term that I think has been so sort of overused in the last few years that a lot of people are starting to dismiss this word embodiment. I've been seeing it sort of mocked in social media and especially in different movement platforms and yoga research groups that I belong to. And I think this is a massive disservice to us as practitioners, as teachers, and really just as human beings. Because here's the deal, every human experience that you have is an embodied experience. Every spiritual experience, every joy, every pain, every sensation, everything you do, because, well, you're in a body. And I don't know of anyone who's having experiences that are not embodied experiences. Even if you have some transcendental whatever experience, your consciousness is part of your physical matter. It's here, it's happening in this body. So even when we're off in dream world and we're touching something beyond our most gross reality, it's still happening in a body. And the reason that this terminology I think is still really useful is because the question becomes then, so if we're talking about people doing embodied practices, does that mean that they can have disembodied practices? Well, no, but that's not what that term is referring to. When we're talking about having an embodied experience or doing embodied practices, what we're referring to is the way in which we direct our attention and moving away from disassociation. So to summarize a bunch of kind of deep scientific research that's beyond the scope of a short video, what we know about how human beings function is that we have actually a really limited range of attention. Our ability to take in information is quite narrow, and our body and our brains numb out to a lot of things intentionally. It keeps us sane. If you felt everything that was happening in your body, every movement of cells, every bit of like digestion happening, your deep neck flexors contracting and holding your head up, you would probably go clinically insane. And so our brains have this really intelligent way of only alerting us to sensation that's necessary for our survival and our highest functioning. Now, the way this becomes problematic is because the research shows that over time, where we place our attention and therefore our experience and our sensory intake is completely formed out of habit. And for a lot of people who are taught to place their attention in specific ways or to even disassociate from the body, what happens is the body actually just becomes this very neutral background of experience, and we sort of end up living in our heads and kind of disassociated from all of the information that is being stored in our bodies, the ways in which our feelings, our emotions, our traumas, our sensitivities, our joy, all of these things are being played out in our very cells. And the reason this is problematic or can just limit our life experiences is because it's going to desensitize our experience in the world when we start to disassociate from the body and develop habits that direct our attention outward and away from interior experience. And this is shown even in just research that's been done on yoga practitioners and Pilates practitioners and meditators about the ways in which that after a few weeks or months of practice, they start to report heightened sensitivity and heightened connection to their emotional experience. This is why new yoga practitioners, when they start to go a little deeper into yoga, it's one of the reasons that often they have big emotional experiences in class that feel unexplainable and they're not sure why they're crying in Shavasana. They're tapping in, re-tapping in, and reconnecting and broadening the range of attention in their physicality, and it's heightening their sensitivity. And this is a really beautiful thing. What the research shows is that the more that people are sort of disassociated from the body, and the body is neutral background to actions and thought-oriented processes, then what happens is that the sensitivity to body, we can start to even feel alienated from ourselves, and the body starts to become something that is not treated as itself an alive and vibratory thing. And in extreme cases, this can lead to a less dynamic experience of ourselves in the world. And so what yoga practice offers us, what thinking about embodiment and retaining this word embodiment does for us, is allows us to start to broaden the range of connection to body and to start to make a home for ourselves once again in our body. I know, even speaking personally, that early in my life, even as a dancer and whatnot, because the goal of dance, of ballet, was so different, body was a tool and a mechanism and a device and an instrument, it was a machine, that as disciplined as my physicality was, I was more and more disconnected from my felt experience in my body. And by the time I was 16 or 17 years old, after dancing for 13 years at that point, I felt like the world was in some ways not real. And even that my own physical experiences, I was detached from them. It was like it wasn't real reality. And I know even when I look at my journals, there's, from that time period in my life, there's journal entries about how I wasn't sure, like, was this a dream? And the more that I, through my practice, have come to allow myself to feel feelings and where they're resting in my body, often without even naming them, the more that I take time to just move non-linearly every day, the more connected to myself I feel, and through that, the more connected I feel to others and to the world around me. And this is the gift of yoga in a lot of ways. And more so, this is what we mean when we're talking about embodiment. And so I would challenge you to rethink the use of this word and not be so quick to dismiss it. And just in closing, I would like you to take a moment to actually practice embodiment. So whatever you're doing, wherever you're sitting, I invite you to close your eyes and to plant your feet solidly on the floor, hip distance apart. Rest your hands on your knees and sit up tall and close your eyes. And I want you just to rest your attention down into your feet. Feel the texture of, if you're wearing shoes, your shoes, of the floor beneath you. Feel your skin and the temperature. And very gently, just trace your awareness up your body from your feet, slowly up to your knees. Feel the sensation of cloth on your skin, of any muscular tone, again of temperature, tingling. And continue in this way, scanning your body. When you arrive at your pelvis, I want you to just start to move around a little bit, non-linearly, unconcerned about what the movement looks like. Maybe swaying, a little serpentine through the spine, a little rolling through the pelvic bowl. And be alert to sensation in your body, to unnamed feelings, places of contraction, just with curiosity and non-judgmental awareness. And scan your body all the way up to the crown of your head, just tuning in to the sensation and the movement of breath. You can stay with this exercise as long as you like. I recommend doing this once a day just to connect to your physicality, to your breath, to your interior world. You might be stunned at how much more attuned you become to reality and how much your experience of joy, of suffering, of all the full range of human experience is heightened. Thank you guys for listening in, and have a beautiful day.